So last we left off here in particular, we had been working on getting this mall set up. This is like this is a mall where all of the various things in the game are available to us, and they're fed into our crafting stations, where we can specify, I want to craft some stuff. So like right here, we're saying I want to craft 75 of the steel frames. This guy is set into craft right now with that switch flicked. Anyway, this is working fine. They'll craft things one at a time, and then they'll send off a request here for materials if they ever run out of materials. So we were testing that with this one in particular. I'll cancel, and it'll go ahead and reset the job. Set everything to 0. But we are just testing this system for, like, let's say I want to create a bunch of these frames. I want to create 10 of these frames, go. We don't have the material for this. This right now is sending off a signal, requesting stuff, and that's getting picked up by like a mall. Like this is a crafting manager, where it's managing all of the materials sent off to the crafters when they request stuff. This picks it up and then sends off the required thing. So we were running into an issue where this was working for everything, but for some reason steel wasn't working. And I remember I was looking down here, I was thinking, we're loading memory fine in one branch. And then we're changing our stage from being just like the idle stage into the dispensing stage. What's that called? I guess requesting shoots first, then the filling stage. So we're moving that direction. That was moving correctly. And then when we were getting down towards the filling stage, when we would go to load the same memory, all of a sudden that memory was empty. We weren't seeing anything anymore. And so I was feeling a little bit stumped there. And I thought I'd just put it down for a bit and play Battlefield. And I did. I thought about this a bit, and I'm pretty sure I found the reason that this code is failing here. I'm pretty certain. Take a look at what's going on with ads and stuff. Ads are good. I'm pretty certain this guy is failing. Because if we go down to our load vars, this is something that's running every single loop. This guy is checking to see, well, first off, it's loading variables, so in particular the dial setting we're looking to load. But then it's also checking to load the stack. Popping off the stack is changing our targeted device that we're going to be sending stuff to, which is going to be whatever the stack pointer is. And then it's also changing the target shoot. That's getting popped into the target shoot variable. So we have the stack pointer to specify like what device are we pointing to. And then we have the target shoot for what target shoot do we set our shoot dial to send stuff along. Anyway, I added a little bit of logic here for saying like, go ahead and branch relative if not equal. If we're not in the idle stage, then go ahead and skip the target shoot spot. And I remember while I wrote this, I was thinking, this should probably be in the idle stage section, but then I didn't think about it again. I'm pretty sure the bug we're running into is the first lap through, we are on the auto lathe, which is stack pointers at 0. So we're doing this, it's loading the memory, it's seeing, oh hey, it wants steel, and we have steel, we can do this. So move into the next stage, move into the filling stage, move towards the, stage request shoots and stage fill. It's moving that way correctly. And then when it's doing that, it's running this code again. It's not changing the target shoot, but it is checking to see is the stack pointer less than or equal to 0? Oh, it is? Yeah, then fill the stack. So it's filling the stack, it's changing our stack pointer. We're now targeting the wrong thing. And when we go to read memory, we're no longer targeting the auto lathe. I think we're targeting nothing, but we might be targeting just like the electronics or something. It's going to go to the top of the stack. And then that doesn't need anything. So we don't see anything showing up in the memory for missing stuff. So I think this is just a mistake with me interacting with the stack. You got to be really careful with how you're doing that. We're getting a desync between the target shoot that we're popping off the stack and the stack pointer, which is like where we're supposed to be pointing. And that's causing some strange bugs that we were seeing here, which we'll only see in the auto lathe. So I think the fix here is to just kind of move this logic from being done in the loading vars function that's running every single iteration. This should pretty much only be done in the idle stage. I mean, that's exactly what this is saying. And we should just be really careful that we interact with the stack cleanly and aren't like jumping over that here. Anyway, so let's just move this to idle stage. Where's stage idle? Okay. Here we go. Alright, so our idle stage is going to first make sure that the dial settings at 0. Make sure that there's no one holding the chutes, because there's no point in us. We can't request a chute. You can't do anything if the chutes are in use. So that's what this line's doing. It'll just jump to main forever until the dial settings at 0. Okay. And then this is the guy that's actually going to bother managing, keeping the stack full with filling the stack, and popping stuff off of the stack to change the current stack pointer address and what target chute that corresponds to. So this is the target chute for auto lathe, I think. You might want to get these written down. 2, 3, 4, 5 is 2 pipe, tools, electro. Okay. So this is the target chute that's popping off that corresponds to the dial, and it's tied to the device, which is the auto lathe here, and that's controlled by the stack pointer. And when we're going to play with memory, when we're loading our memory, we're branching based on that stack pointer to say where are we grabbing memory, which device are we grabbing memory from, because we need to loop over all of these to check, do any of you have any missing items? Okay. So that feels right. That both feels like a fix for the bug, and also I'm going to be surprised if this works without any more issues. Let's maybe, let's see, what do we want to even do here? We could just see if it works for now. Did I leave any errant weird comments or anything around the fill stage? I remember I was messing with that before. We were doing some weirdness. Like this whole R0, all this jazz we shouldn't be doing at all. We should just be setting the internal hash straight through. That was working fine. This was all just the wrong direction. Okay. And there may be some bugs around this. I remember adding this. But this seems generally right, I think. Without thinking about it too much, but just like looking at the shape. What's this called, Mall Manager? Is this right? Let's overwrite that code, maybe. Okay, so first off, are you even going to compile? Maybe. I'm going to save. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to throw this in. Turn that on. Do you compile? Any errors? Everything working? No problems. Everybody's happy. The world is beautiful. Okay. So there's nothing being requested right now. Let's give it a shot. Steel was failing before. Let's do exactly what I was just saying. I'm going to say, give me 10 of these, which you cannot afford, so you should request it. Are you going to request things? I hear things being requested. I see steel moving through the line. And that's working now. Okay. So I think that bug is fixed, but I'm not 100% sure. We need to see this work, and we need to see it work without any bugs popping up for, who knows, forever, I guess, ideally. Okay, well, I'm happy to see that. We could test that too. Should we test that anywhere else? You seem to be working correctly, at least for some stuff. I've already seen this work. I've already seen this work. I haven't seen you work, I don't think. Is there anything that you don't have the materials for? Okay, you need silicon to make one of these. What is this? An electronics printer. I don't want an electronics printer. Come on. Don't be wasteful. No. I'm gonna find something. I'm gonna click buttons until I find something. What about this? Sure, whatever, dude. Give me one of those. Give me one of those. We're gonna click the button. You don't have the material. You should send a request for silicon. Silicon should come shoot through the tubes. Unless it doesn't. But maybe it will. There it is. And then you start. You're gonna make one of these. You're gonna hit the target count. That goes to 0. This guy should turn off. There it is. It does the poop into the things and the stuff, and the card gets shot down from the sky above. Okay. And there are those 10 steel frames that I requested. You're all done with 30 steel to spare. Awesome. Okay. I don't trust you. But yep. That might be working now. I've seen all of these machines request something, and the mall manager see that request and send it down the line correctly for many different resources now. Alright, I'll have to be more careful with the stack pointer in the future. But I'm happy to see this. This is good to see. This is a big piece of the puzzle. Alright, so we now have a mall where we can just plug in raw resources. They can even get centrifuged down below the base if we need to separate them into stuff. That gets auto-furnaced. That gets distributed. Excess is dumped. The machines can now be programmed to build X amount of anything. They will request stuff when they need stuff. That will automatically get sent through the chutes. So we are getting closer to sandbox mode, kinda. This is a lot of the production being automated. I think the next big piece, which I may want to take a stab at now, or pretty quick here. I want to get the auto furnace going. I think the auto furnace is not really that bad. We need another similar mall manager. This one's not the mall manager. This one's like the crafter manager. Coffee is good. So the crafter manager manages the crafters. The mall manager would manage the mall. The mall could auto stock itself. We could take a look at these machines. We could start one at a time with like steel. We could take a look at the steel count. If steel is below a certain variable, we could say like 50% full. Then send in a request to make steel. And that would be pretty easy. We could just keep all of the parameters around steel on the stack, basically. In every iteration, every loop through the stack, we would just grab a new resource that we were looking at. So that could have all the max pressure and max temp and the various things they needed to be sent. That sort of thing. I'm so thirsty. And then we can just add those one at a time to the stack for whatever your max settings are. Then we gotta teach the furnace to be able to hold those variables. It's gonna be a little more complicated than the auto furnace. I think we can take that code and butcher it a little bit, just pull it apart. So very, very thirsty. My throat, got something in my throat here. Are you good, buddy? Can we talk? Can I speak? Ah, wah, 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 wah. It looks like it's working. I've always wanted to say that. I'm glad you're here to witness it. Alright, we eat, we drink. We chill. Let's see, what else? So mall manager would be fun. I might take a stab at that now, or pretty quick here. And I think that's going to be relatively easy. This one was tricky. This had like 2 or 3, it had 2 pretty significant just like design issues that were really difficult to debug and figure out a solution to. Just getting a message to send to set in memory and to be able to be readable was not straightforward as I expected. I would expect that to always be readable, but you have to like send special commands for it to update the memory at all. And then the fact that negative values get like butchered a little bit when they're stored. You have to look for them and you have to convert them back into the correct value. If you see a negative value, you gotta do like the 2's complement and subtract it. That was those were pretty significant bugs that were difficult to work out. And then I just had one bug of my own with the stack pointer, getting that thing out of sync with our current target shoot, and just making the memory mess up for the auto lathe in particular. That was a tricky one, but I think it's working. We'll have to test it. I'm not confident, but it looks like basic testing was working on everything. Let's give that time. We gotta like use it. We gotta build a new castle or something. Should expand. Having even a little bit of space is nice. And I was also thinking I want to just like run some material through. I want to see what's low. Let's have manually farm a little bit. Have some resources here. And then we can set up the auto furnace and see if it'll start auto crafting stuff for us. We can start small there. You can start with just like steel, and then maybe add electrum. And then just go from there. We'll see. That's a fun project. Also, anything else I feel like. I feel like this is a good thing to go for and is good for like a long-term time saver. It's like a cool, it's definitely very nice to have. Finishes off all the production line stuff and automation. But at the same time, I could put it off for a long time and I'm still in a really good spot here. Everything is getting super easy. So, with that in mind too, I could work on the greenhouse. It's pretty basic. Look at that. Pretty basic. I feel like it needs some art. I need to spray paint a Michelangelo somewhere. Or something like that. Can we slap a Mona Lisa on the wall? Dice, please. We could work on, I would like good food automation. I would like good cocoa stuff, I think, is the easiest target. I could be wrong there. But I think doing like the chocolate bars will be the easiest, highest quality food for low effort. That could be a good tangent. I kind of want to do a nitrogen freezing tangent too. That would be fun. Why not? We could make liquid nitrogen, and then we could make another series of cooling chambers exactly like this. Should be very easy to reproduce. This took like 3 sessions to set up, but we were like pretty resource starved at the time. The setup wasn't great. And we were figuring out and learning and debugging. Now it's just like copy the program and paste it a few times. Rebuild this design. It works. And this isn't a very expensive design. So we could set one of these up for nitrogen and then do the same sort of evaporation series for nitrogen. That's a fun tangent. There's a few things I want to do. And I need to do rockets. I gotta, especially if I can automate rockets for ore production. Then we don't have to mine anymore. We could just have fuel production from the plants, producing extra oxygen and whatnot. And then go send off rockets to farm whatever resources we're short on. Ideally, like, automatically. It'd be nice to just never think about that again and basically have all production automated. Farming to, like, the super alloys and even, like, consuming on the machines. Anyway. Big tangents, things to do, and no rush for any of it. We're in a good spot. There's no what's gonna kill you next. Only catastrophic mistakes that I don't want to save scum for whatever reason. Which is not this save. Alright, so all of these are low. We could make some of this stuff. I was thinking I would rather make it automated. Have the computer do it. What are we low on? Steel's okay, lead's okay. Ooh, we're low on you, nickel. Silver's full. Silver and gold are automated, so we're overflowing on those. Those are getting dumped into the abyss. Should probably make some more electrum while that's overflowing. That could be one of the... We could teach it to do steel, we could teach it to do electrum, we could see how it does. Cobalt's low, silicon's low. Iron's low. Okay. It's time for some peaceful farming. Let's go fill a couple belts. What's with the warping on the bottom left? Oh, thank you very much for letting me know. Sometimes that just happens. I need to reset. Let me try alt-tabbing. Or what if I do alt-enter? Alt-enter. No. Okay, let me do this real quick. Let me play with OBS. Thank you for letting me know. This has been happening occasionally lately. It's not good. Well, that didn't help. There we go. That looks better. I unplugged it, and then I plugged it in again. It's the ultimate move in the tech field. That'll get you like 75% of the way through a career in IT. We farm. Just gonna fill them all a little bit and build whatever we feel like building. Do whatever. Getting strong. I feel like I need to make something big just to test the like the mall distribution system. So peaceful. Spaceboy life is a completely different vibe. Nobody's trying to kill me. I can just chill and eat potatoes and program. So good, and it's also very different than the beginning of the game. The beginning of the game feels completely different. Oh my god, how do I not die? Alright, what am I even farming here? All the things I've gotten so far, except the coal. Doesn't really matter, just filling in the system a bit. It is fun. I've already had many times this save where I just blow out the windows and everything catches fire. Just because it feels right. Then you just save scum it. It's the perfect system. It feels like a superhero move. It feels like the Flash does that or something. that's probably enough stuff for a long time. I don't really need anything. It's just grabbing whatever's low. This one's good. I think a big goal for sure as well is to just get more passive resource generation. We've got silver and we've got gold. And our mall is overflowing. That's all we've got. Anything else we could get is going to be immediately useful, especially something like iron or silicon, something that's used heavily. That makes me think rockets. Need the rocket to do the sightseeing and see where all the biomes are. Maybe make an outpost, or maybe even just see, maybe the rocket sees a different planet we can go mine. We just do that for resources. Automate some rockets. I think we should have a lot of fuel to spare. And if we need to do some crazy cooling systems or something, that'd be a fun reason to do some crazy cooling systems. I want to do that nitrogen cooling, then maybe make some like liquid oxidizer or something. I think they have like liquid fuel, liquid oxidizer. I think that's the thing. Unless I made it up. But it feels like it'd be pretty good. You can definitely make liquid fuel, liquid volatiles. I'm pretty sure you can feed them to spaceships. Pretty sure Neff said that. Neff knows. Neff knows things. Alright. This feels like enough. We paid some bills. We did some chores. Let's fix the jetpack and fly home.
Jetpack critical.
That's a nice base. Look at that, it's got an Irish flag on the roof. Amazing. Our various stuff and things. Hot tank is almost to capacity. Oh my god, it's up to 2300 Celsius. That's insane. This guy's exchanging heat with all the steam we produce. Like the first thing the steam does is just trade heat with this guy. That's wildly hot. That's hot enough to do all the things we'd ever want to do. That's too hot. It's gonna overheat a lot of recipes probably. That's great to see. How's the cold tank? Cold tank is actually a little low on pressure. Could probably use another input or two, but it's doing alright. Temperature's fine. How we doing on gas? Oxygen is... Ooh, oxygen is where it always is at 500. That's where it gets pumped into the fuel tank. Fuel's going up fast now. to 6 megapascals. All the additional ferns. You make gas, pump gas in here. We've got 20 megapascals of pressure here. That's a lot. Going on to you guys. Differential of 15, 5 on this side. Okay, so again, the choke point currently for water. I mean, it might be fine, but the choke point right now is these steam turbines, which are moving steam. Sorry, these aren't steam turbines. These are Stirling engines, which are moving steam from here to here, and from a temperature of 2300 Celsius to 1800 Celsius, so 500 Celsius is getting shaved off of that and returned to us as power. We could add more of these. We have 2 right now. They're just doing the exact same thing in the exact same spot. We could just run the line over here and do it like down here, further out of the way or something. If we added 2 or 3 more of these, that would improve the throughput overall and allow more steam in the line. Because if we look here, this is really low. This is like 184 kilopascals. And at the same time, that just means we can pump more water production through. And our water production is still just going up like fast, like 100 liters a day. So if we fatten this part, maybe we make it 200 liters a day, which is kind of nice. If I want to make a swimming pool, sure. Nothing we need to do there, but we could pretty quickly. CO2 tank's good. Volatile tank's good. Okay, well that all looks good. Alright, we're home. I did not drop off the stuff, did I? Let's drop off the stuff. And first, swapping out the jetpack here. Make sure we keep a backup. Alright, belts go in here. And then they get digested. Now all the way to when they get used in the machines. Let's see, what do I want to do? What should we do? We do all sorts of things. I was just thinking about some possible things to do. They all sound doable. What to do, what to do. Just getting rid of some garbage right now. Don't need any of this. I need to make a garbage. Go in the corner. There we go. This is the corner. Alright. Maybe start working on the furnace area. The auto crafting, auto smelting portion. The last piece of the chain here. See how long that takes. I'm nervous. I feel like it should be easy, but I felt like the last one shouldn't be this hard. At least this one doesn't have any memory. Alright, what do we got here? So this is the line that everything is attached to, so we'll just pull over some power, and then we can put down consoles. And output some information. And I think we're going to use consoles to control the flow of information between devices. We're going to want a console for basically every variable involved in the system is going to want its own console. And do I want to flip these windows? I feel like you should not be windows. You should be walls. I don't know if I care. I think I care. I think I'm going to do it. Only takes a second. Alright, there we go there.
Oxygen critical.
Oh, this guy can just go, too. This isn't doing anything anymore. This was our original tank for propellant for flying around. Let's just take the cold air at night and pump that to a minimum pressure. No more of that. Oh! Might have fucked up. I might be dying right now. I regret my decisions. Cut that. That doesn't make it to YouTube. Don't forget to cut that. You gotta learn to edit videos so that you can cut that. The people can't know that you make mistakes sometimes. Cut that. Alright, we do battle, motherfucker. Do you think you can defeat me twice? Likely. Alright, very cool. Did that cause anything to explode? Are we good? It should just go poof. The end. You good? No damage anywhere? Damage, 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 damage. That's okay. You can be damaged. I don't care. Anyway, that was just the original propellant. Our propellant's much better now. We're using cooled and filtered carbon dioxide so that we can fly around in the base. And it will only dump cool carbon dioxide, which our plants will eat. So we can fly around as much as we want, never worry about it. Alright, I'm going to save here. It's a good chance I'm going to blow out the wrong wall. Got it. I'm going to put it right back. But flip it. Maybe flip it. Flip it though, but flip it. No. Yep. Excellent. Looks good. Probably should do the same here. If I delete those walls, it's gonna it's gonna leak air and create a fireball. So I will not do that. One piece at a time. Doesn't need to be perfect. Just keep making it a little better. Alright, now these are cleared to be removed. Easy. The first battle is over. We defeated the wall. Okay. So we will put a brain here, maybe, which will connect down to these circuits down here. To the consoles, that is. The consoles are going to be what? We gotta think about this. First off, we're gonna need consoles. I have a couple of them on me. Oh, I need things? Wonderful. I've got a machine that feeds me things. I'm gonna need a bunch of consoles. Give me 20 consoles. Go. Amazing. Technology. And if it's hungry, it will ask the mall for things. Oh. That's my happy O. So what are we gonna have here? We'll have some consoles. We might want to do bigger consoles for a couple of them. It could be nice. Particularly for, like, the regents. For whatever they're bringing in. If that was bigger, and then we could show the hash code. Then we could have, like, you could actually see the item iron ingot would come through here. Instead of just seeing, like, item ... How much power do those take? I feel like these take just too much power. 50 watts. 50 watts. So they're all 50 watts. Which means you could do the big ones, and you should do the big ones. Same price, but more awesomer. I see. More awesomer is a great argument. Look at that. Let's do the thing. It's making me 20 consoles. We're down to 9 left. Still going. Did you request any things? Are you gonna run out of things? I don't think so. This guy's full of things. Oh, it's gonna run out of copper here. Yeah. You're gonna run out of copper right now, and you need copper. So you should request copper, and that should come shooting through a pipe any moment. That's technology. I'll never have to think again. Thank ChatGPT. Cool. That's awesome. I'm glad to see that working. Sorry, we got unavoidable ads, and then I will expand the consoles here and start working on furnace logic. That explosion did some damage. Let's make sure you're all good. Okay, so I was thinking I want to take out the windows here. And make room for consoles on this wall in particular. This might be enough already. We might be good like this. Maybe I'll just leave it like this. But I was thinking we could have the 3 regents that are being requested. We could have a count for however many they have left. And then we could have up here things like the pressure, high pressure, low pressure, high temp, low temp. And that's pretty much it. That's like all the variables here. Okay. So maybe that's enough room right there. Don't need any adjustment. Alright, and we probably want a smaller display for the number. Something like that would be good. So name, number. And then these are just going to again be smaller displays. Could do something like this too. Okay. Where are my signs? I need signs. I don't even know how to make signs. What's in signs? Give me 20 signs. Okay, so I'm thinking temperature high, temperature low, pressure high, pressure low. Item hash 1, item hash 2, item hash 3. And then count 1, count 2, count 3 for how many more they need to push into the furnace. So we'll have a machine that will watch things. We can start with steel. It will pop off all the various values for these guys for what to make steel. So that's going to be a min pressure, max pressure, min temp, max temp. And then like coal and iron. And then it can also, I'm just thinking where this logic should live. It could probably also handle the logic of taking over the chute and actually sending stuff to the furnace. So in the consoles here, it'll set values for all the pressure and temperature and whatnot. It'll give us feedback on what needs to be sent into the furnace and how many stacks of it. We can actually use that. Not only is that kind of fun to look at, this is just a nice to have more than anything. But we could also use it, like if we run out of materials, we can come running over here and it'll say, alright, the furnace is trying to make X and it needs Y and Z. You go farm that. I was thinking it could be fun too if we put, we could give an IC to every one of these and put like a light above it or even a couple lights. Like change the color of the light on the vending machine so they could turn like red or orange if they're getting low on stuff. That could be fun too. But it'd be fun if we had ways to just like quickly visualize what's going on and what needs to be farmed, if anything. And then you just throw that in the system. Anyway, this guy's gonna set the various values. It's gonna shoot stuff into the furnace. And then the furnace is gonna have its own code, which will be the auto furnace code. And that's just, it's not gonna handle the material at all. It's going to be picking up on its parameters for like the temperature and pressure by just reading the console settings. It can read these guys. So that's where it's going to get those boundaries. And then it's just going to be looking to like melt everything until it has a furnace full of 1,000 regents. And from that point, start shooting for the target parameters. And as soon as you can, pull the open switch to release whatever's ready to go. So I think that's how we break it into a couple programs. We have one for loading the furnace, and when we have something missing. And then we have a program for running the furnace. And the kind of intermediate handshake or whatever, the passing of information is done via the consoles. where we can also keep an eye on what's going on, which is kind of fun. And we may want one more console here as well. We have everything except we don't have like what we're actually crafting. Feels like that would be pretty appropriate to show. It would be fun to see the hash of, you know, like if we're making steel, to see steel pop up. So that's probably worth doing. Alright, that's my thought process. That's a lot. But it's also nothing terribly complicated. And nothing we haven't really done before. I think we really can lean on that auto furnace code. So to start, I'm going to remove these windows. Let's start with that. I want to clean up these 3 windows. Let's have just one teeny little view into the furnace and then save this for console space. Ooh, maybe? Maybe I take that back immediately? Nah, I'm gonna do it. We're going out there, we're doing it.
Oxygen critical.
I'm gonna save just in case. No explosions. No explosions is exactly the number of explosions we were hoping for. What a miracle.
Hydration critical.
Alright, so we're just putting them right back. This time as not windows. Okay. How's water? I haven't looked at one of these in a while. What's going on with the tubs? Tubs up to 170 liters. It pretty much all goes into this pipe network. 1,800 liters. Doing good. Alright, Potato Man wants a potato. Signs. I forgot I even wanted these. There we go. Okay. They look like they have a tint. I think that's the new lighting mod. Alright, and then these windows can come back. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Starting to look like something. Starting to look like something. Am I out of consoles already? It's fortunate I've got a button for this. Give me 10 more consoles. Okay. So we'll plug these all in, we'll get them working to show us the various values and to transfer data between our furnace and our brain for our mall. And then we should also do a light. I think there's a light that does like a big spinny alarm type thing. You know? We need a big spinny woo-woo light. Woo! When the thing's running, I want to spin a little woo-woo light. That's how we'll know it's busy. And that'll also give attention to, like, if it needs stuff, it'll have a woo-woo light going, and it'll say, hey, I need iron. And then we can go, oh no, and go get some iron. Which one's the woo-woo light? Is it you? Do you go woo-woo? No. Might be a special, like, alarm item. Not like a normal light. Finish that and let's cancel. You locked up? What did I do? What have I done? Oh my god. Let's take a look. So I had 2 left. I went to cancel. And we put it in a bad state where it's currently locked. And it didn't do the cancel mechanic of shutting this, or turning it to 0, and then pulling this guy. That was a correct cancel. When it didn't work before, I canceled right as the job ended. Maybe something to do with that, but that seems like a little bug I have to look at. Something's off there. Anyway, what do we have for lights? Do you have a woo-woo light? Here we go. Flashing light. Give me 1 woo-woo light. Woo-woo. And then you should do the pooping with the thing and the pooping, and then it woo-woo. Good. Okay. This will do. Maybe like up here? So we'll have a spinning woo-woo light to let us know that the furnace is trying to cook things. And if it's ever stuck on, it's likely that we're out of materials. Seems reasonable. Alright, I wanted to do another console up here that was going to be just for whatever we're trying to make. Put it like right here. And do I even need more labels? Should I try and label these big dudes? Thinking meh. This feels pretty okay. What about names? Probably like furnace underscore stuff. Item hash. I'm already not liking it. We're gonna have 4 item hashes. We'll have item hash for whatever we're trying to craft. We'll have input 1, input 2, input 3. Almost like target hash. Seems reasonable. Crafting hash. I'm gonna say target hash. But I don't like it. Also, furnace is too much. Let's do F. F, target hash. F. like hash 1, hash 2. Maybe input hash 1. Kind of gross. Pretty explicit. Input hash. We've got input count for how many remain. Okay. Yeah, makes sense, yeah. We're nerding out. Name those variables. Got our target hash. This is going to be whatever we're trying to craft. Steel could be the example. We'd have input 1 would be iron. We would have 15 stacks. Input 2 would be coal. It would have 5 stacks. No input 3. We just have 0, 0. We would give it a high temp, low temp, high press, low press. It would see that we need steel, populate the machines, and then go through the effort of clicking the buttons. The furnace is just listening for when it receives 1,000 input, more or less. It'll just be sitting there in the idle state. When anything comes in, it'll start keeping the temperature at a minimum level, just by like fluffing in warm air. And then once it hits 1,000, it'll try and hit the target pressures and temperatures, which will craft whatever we want, which enters the mall and completes the circle. And our mall now feeds itself with whatever advanced alloys we put into our programming, which is just a couple parameters for what to put in it and what we want for the variables around temperature and whatnot. Seems good. Haven't built this before. I immediately like the way this looks. That's pretty cool. Let's plug it in. And we're gonna need a name for that light. What should that light be? Probably furnace is active. Something like that. I'm not so certain about these names. These feel off to me. I'll have to think about it. But this should work. We can go with this. Power. Show me your woo-woo light. Oh yeah, dude. Woo-woo. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you, woo-woo light. Love that woo-woo light. What's going on with the power here? Do I see 2 wires? No, I see the red on the inside of a frame, which is identical. I understand. Oh, does that not plug in? No. No, but it was perfect. You're gonna make me move stuff? Life is pain. It's fine. Move one slot over. That will work okay. And then they need to be named again. Input count 1 is exactly correct. Input count 2. Input count 3. Okay. Oops, jetpack's empty. What's that? I'm low on cable, you say? Well. How about a nice 200 cable? Magic. Alright, now where did I put my things? My clippers? Right there. Here we go. Doing the electrical. I'm an electrician now. This is basically being an electrician on Mars. It's basically the same thing. Alright, are you all plugged in? Should turn all of them on, I think. Ooh, it's green. That's pretty good. I like that green glow. It reminds me of Shrek, and he's beautiful. Love to see it. Trying to think, do I even need anything else here? I feel like this is already basically done. Like there may be a large amount of work to do for the programming on it. But I don't see a reason not to throw some cladding down. This is already ready to go. Just add a brain. That's the tricky bit. Alright, so that should work for us. Do I want to add a label for this guy? Nah, we're good. Maybe. It's too late though. Alright, we're good. So we need to write 2 ACs, I guess. We could start with just the one. Let's start with one that's pretty much only going to do steel to start, but we'll try and write it in a way where it could easily do multiple inputs, and maybe start with like steel and electrum, and then we can add from there. But let's try and write a script that's going to take a look at our various wall inputs here in the mall, starting with steel and electrum. And it's going to check out the counts if they're low, put in an order to cook some more on the furnace, set up all these variables, and send in the proper resources. That would be a big step in the right direction. And then even for like, I mean right now I can just click buttons and manually cook it. But then we use the auto furnace code and try and hack that apart to make this thing run well. That's the dream. That's the dream. What up, Neff? I fixed the thing, it's working. I stack pointer errored like a noob. Assembly is hard. I like the stack. I'm not super comfy with it yet. I stand in the corner. I need to stand and use the bathroom and take a sip of water, and then we'll write some programs. I'll be back in 1 second here. I'm live. Are you live? I hope you are live. It's good to be alive. Alright. Where were we? It's time for the tricky bit. It's time for the hard work. This is the fun part, the programming. I don't think this one's going to be terribly bad. What do we got here? We need a housing. We need a chip. I think that's basically what this is going to be. This one is for controlling our chutes and requesting things. This one's for controlling our chutes This one can be for controlling our mall manager. More or less. I feel like I should rename some stuff too. Let's take a quick look at this. I'm going to open this up. We're going to edit. We're going to save. This is our mall manager. Is it the mall manager or is it the crafter manager? Which is different than a crafter controller. Because the mall manager feels like the one that should be grabbing ingots and sending it to the furnace. Maybe that's the furnace manager. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and we're going to save this as a new one. We're going to call it Furnace Mall Manager. Furnace Manager. Man. Sending jobs to the furnace. Stock. The mall. Furnace Manager. Okay, Furnace Manager. Let's get you doing things and stuff. I was thinking we could start with the code that we had for the mall manager because it already shares quite a bit with what we're doing here, in that it does staging and that it also does the control of the dial for seeing what's going on there and affecting the dial for the chutes and that sort of thing. So we can start with this, but it's also going to be, we're probably going to want to just delete like the vast majority of this code. So I know we're not going to have this, 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 not going to have this. None of these devices are correct. In fact, are there going to be any devices on this? We're accessing a lot of devices, but we're accessing all of them by hash and name combination, not by like a dial setting on the physical IC device. I think we do nothing on this. Pure hashes, which is actually a hell of a lot easier on this circuit in particular. This one circuit has all of our mall logic for all of the sorters and all of the different vending machines and all of the different crafting devices and all of the different consoles. Just rotating through to like program it is a big headache, so we probably want to stick with hashes if we can. Anyway, that's some code to delete. This is 15, 14, 13. All of this is things we want to keep. We've got a stage. We've got whatever's on the dial. And then that's going to specify a target chute? No. Target chute is going to always be the furnace chute, which should be some sort of constant. Furnace dial setting, maybe. And it's 1, right? Are you 1? Furnace is 1. Good. Good progress. You got lucky with trading, got all the seeds. Nice. What are you gonna grow? What did you want seeds for? I always do like ferns and potatoes to start. And then from there, that's where it gets more interesting. Alright, what else are we looking at? What are we doing here? We are going to have... I think we're going to have similar staging. We're probably going to have just idle, fill, and request chutes. So those can stay. Let's keep deleting code. We've got basic staging. Jump between the different stages based on our current stage variable. We've got our main function, just doing a loop forever, going to staging, and then also doing this load variables functionality. Our stack, fill stack, we're going to need to do something completely different here. I feel like it should be not fill stack, but reset stack. Feels like better labeling. I'm going to call it reset stack. And that's going to be in the idle stage, does reset stack, yep. And it's going to pop a target chute. We're never going to do that. We're going to pop all sorts of stuff, but not target chute. We got nothing for loading memory. All of this logic should get deleted. Okay, we do want to keep this. This is just saying, okay, at some point, when we have reached the correct conditions, then we're going to want to change the stage to requesting chutes. Eventually, this is going to want to pipe stuff to the furnace. And then we will set the dial, not to a target chute, but to whatever our furnace dial setting is. The furnace chute setting. Okay. Furnace dial setting? I like furnace chute setting more. Let's do furnace chute setting. Or furnace chute dial. Chute dial setting. It's a lot of words. Anyway, this guy can set the dial when appropriate, and then this is all not quite right. We are not doing any sort of looping here. This is all gone. This J main is redundant. Okay. Request chutes is going to do again the furnace chute setting. Okay. So it's going to branch relative equal. If the VDial setting is equal to the furnace chute setting, then jump 3. So it'll jump to here. It'll say go to stage fill and do some filling. Otherwise, if it's not equal to the chute setting, if we didn't get control of the dial when we tried to take control, if another program was fighting for us at the exact same time and they ended up getting the chute, and it's at like a 2 or a 3 or something instead of a 1, then go ahead and just move to stage idle. Let's just take a step back. We're not going to do anything. Okay, that's fine. Stage fill is doing mostly memory stuff, which we do not want. Let's delete all memory interactions. Load mem is not a thing. No longer doing any sort of memory loading. This was a bunch of work around loading the regent hash that was needed by various crafting devices. Okay, so we're just deleting the code that we don't need, which is a big chunk of it, but we're still leaving a general structure that's fairly similar to what we're looking for here. And I'm just seeing, is there anything else we're missing? Anything obvious? I mean, most of the program. But this feels like an okay start. We're going to have some different consoles. We have the small console, we're going to have the medium console, and then we're going to have the big console. It's large, probably. What are your various settings? Medium is this guy. Okay, that's not big. Medium is this guy. And big is not correct. It should be large. Try and match the verbiage. Okay, so we've got our small console, our medium, and our large. This is a little bit of a headache every time we're managing consoles. We're going to have to be conscious of what their correct device hash is. But I want to have different sizes, so we're going to do that. I like the layout of having the big, the medium, and the small. What else? For the big are all going to be displaying item hashes. So if we want, we could leave them as a number. And let's say we're looking at iron. We're going to make iron. We want to make iron. No, that's wrong. Steel. We're never going to make iron here. We want to make steel. If we leave it as the item hash, the name that we're already playing with is going to be this item steel ingot. And we're going to see this item hash of like a negative number. I think I read from the nerds on Reddit, if we set the setting to 10, then instead of seeing the number, we'll see the string. And so we might get like a human readable form. I want this to say steel, and then this to say iron, and then copper, and then you can just be 0 or broken or whatever. Sorry, not copper, coal. Iron, coal. But that'd be neat if it was human readable instead of being a number. If it's a number, that's really not very useful. Ferns and potatoes, nice. I gotta do soy for the french fries. I've not done enough high tier food at all. I'm not sure if I've ever done high tier food. I think I've definitely automated production of, what was it? The grass in particular, for making volatile production be automated fully. But I never turned that into like making good, useful food. What up, Couscous? Thank you. Glad you like Nerdy Game. I love Nerdy Game. We're off to a good start today in Nerdy Game. I'm happy to see this thing working. That's a big upgrade. Alright, I'm gonna grab a chip. Let's throw a chip in here. I was just talking about setting the setting on the large consoles. I think all of those should have the same setting. So let's do, as part of the warm-up here, we will say SB for the large consoles. All of you get the setting, or no, the mode of 10, I think, is like string display mode. I almost want to see that like right away. That would be nice. Anyway, hopefully we can see that it's just like a human readable thing. Alright, now what are our various values going to be? We're going to have a bunch of values here. We are going to have, let's see, we are going to have the target hash for whatever it is we're going to be creating. We're going to have a lot of values here, I think. We're going to have the temp high, temp low, press high, press low. Got temperature, got pressure, got target hash. Okay. Then we need whatever's coming in. How do we want to do that? It's only ever going to be 2 or 3 items. It's almost worth setting up like some sort of array or some sort of repetitive code. First branching for 3 items individually, but it's only 3. Anyway, what are these? We're going to have input hash 1. Can I do that? Does it have to be like this? Input hash 2. Am I going to run out of R's? Oh no. Input hash 3. Oh no, we might have to do like... We might have to rotate through them, iterate through them, and see if we can add any. Like one at a time. Gross. Let's see. So we have input hash 1, input hash 2, input hash 3, and then we need input count 1. So R5, input count 2, R4, input count 3, R3. We still have R2, R1, and R0. That's not a lot of variables. I think these 6 could be reduced to like 2. Would be nice. We could probably, in fact, we could definitely delete all of them for the most part. Or at least like all of these. We could just, as part of when we're popping off the hash, we could like immediately push it into the variables, basically. Sorry, I said popping it off of the hash. I was thinking about two different things at once. As we're popping it off of the stack, we could like pop it into R0 and then immediately send it to the console and then forget about it. We're never going to need to look at these variables. This is like purely for the sake of the furnace, for it to be able to judge its own internal logic. We're not including any furnace logic here. And even with that, it might be like tight for lines of code for space, because every single vending machine is going to have like 6 parameters for it. It's going to need like 10 lines of code just to specify every input. We might need like 2 or 3 of these working next to each other, each one of them doing a chunk of vending machines, and then probably have to add more logic for like making sure that they don't accidentally think they have control of the dial at the same time. Have to add like a... Right now we're using the shoot dial. We'll have to have like a shoot controlling ID or something, where you can specify, you don't control it by like setting the dial setting, you set it by setting your own ID as the controller and verifying that got set. Shit's complicated, yo. This is a tricky mall. It's got a big brain. It's got a lot of thoughts. It's hard getting them all organized into lines of code. Alright, we're doing things. Things are happening. So we've got our huge amount of variables. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We have 2, 1, 0 to spare, which we'll probably end up using for something sometime. I drink coffee and I chill. Coffee is delicious. Not in a rush. Drink coffee. Drink water. Have a nice potato, guy. We're doing good. How's that water supply doing? Up to 1,900 liters. Oh yeah. Alright, we're chilling. Let's see. So, we've got some constants just for our vending machines, for our consoles, for our furnace setting, for our various stages. Probably going to need more stages. We're going to set the stage to idle to begin with. That's going to be our default start mode. We're going to tell all the consoles, for the large consoles, to go to mode 10 and see if that'll let them show strings. That would be nice. We've got branching for our stages, idle, request shoots, and fill. Okay, so let's start with idle and creating a stack. So reset stack. This is going to push our stack. This is going to create the stack. And the way this is going to work is we're essentially going to create a stack where you think of the memory as like it's an array of items corresponding to an object, kind of. So it's like a chunk of these first few items are going to be a single thing to specify like how to handle creating steel. Will be one chunk of like 7 variables for all the pressures and temperatures and that sort of thing. And then you just add another chunk. You just keep doing that. So we're just going to keep popping off like 7 pieces at a time to fill every variable for handling one item. And then starting with like steel and electrum. We'll just start with those 2, so it's variable. And then you just add more to the stack. You just put on whatever settings for whatever. And it should be able to handle making that happen. That's the goal. That's what we're doing here, I think. So we're going to have a totally different stack. We can start, we're just going to push a bunch of stuff for whatever we're going to eventually pop off. We're going to want things like basically all of the variables that we have up here. We're going to want the target hash. Okay, so push a target hash. What's our target hash going to be? Let's start with steel. Steel has a target hash like this. Okay, so this is our target hash. This is what we're trying to create. We can put this onto our console, And this is also corresponding to exactly the vending machine that we would need to look at to see how our steel count's looking. So there you go. We now are pointing this to steel, and we know what we're trying to create and what machine to look at to see if we need to create it. What else are we gonna have? We're gonna have temperatures and inputs and stuff. Let's start with the input hashes. Let's do input hash 1, input hash 2, input hash 3. Okay. So we're gonna push the input hash is going to be the hash not for item steel ingot, but item iron ingot. It's going to need push 15 iron ingots. Let's delete these. Okay, so that's the first thing it needs. It's also going to need the hash for coal, and I believe that's just named coal. It doesn't have a funny name. The machine is just coal. We can verify that right now. What's your name, coal machine? You are named coal. Okay. So it needs coal. It'll push the coal machine button, and it needs push 5. Not a target. Get rid of that comment. Okay. So the first thing we're popping off is what item we're trying to create, and then we're going to pop off what goes in it. That's going to be the iron ingot. We're going to need 15 of those. That's also coal. We're going to need 5 of those. This fills the furnace up with the correct ratio to have 1,000 regents, which is like totally full, and that's like what our target is, what we're looking for the point where the furnace starts finishing the recipe. And then that's it. This is all the inputs. One more thing here is the general pattern here, the general structure. Excuse me, interrupting burps, is going to need to include a 3rd item, because there's a lot of recipes that include 3 items. Where the first couple we're making only have 2, but if we want to do like stellite, that's got 3. Any of the advanced stuff has 3. So we're going to have a spot here for the 3rd, and in our case, that's just going to be 0. We're going to push zeros into the stack. 0 for the name, 0 for the number of stacks that needs to be added. But we want to like preserve that spot in memory. The structure needs to be identical. It needs to be like a stamp for every chunk of memory in the stack. And this is just the 3rd, what do you call it, input hash, something like that. 3rd input count. Target hash. Input hash 1. Input hash 2. What is this? Input count 1. Input count 2. Input hash 3. Input hash, nope, count 3. 2. Okay, making sense? Easy peasy. So this is a big chunk of it. This is a bunch of the variables. And then we're also going to need to keep track of the high pressure, low pressure, high temp, low temp. That sort of thing. So those are the last variables that we're going to shove onto the stack. We will have the high temp is going to be very high, infinity. So high temp. It's going to be very high. It's not going to get that high. Low temp is going to be 627. High temp, low temp. High pressure, low pressure. High pressure is 100. That's pretty much infinity. And that's 100 megapascals. So that's 100,000. High pressure. I think 60 megapascals, our furnace explodes. and then destroys the walls, and then blows out into our base in a giant fireball, which blasts out the windows, and then everything's on fire, and then all my potatoes die, and I'm super upset about that. So we're probably not going to hit 100,000 megapascals here, but sure. Low pressure is 1 megapascal. That is 1,000. Okay, so we'll label all those variables. And this is the general structure of our stack. What is this, like 10 lines of code? So it costs 10 lines of code for every one of the advanced machines that we want to plug into this, or every one of the bending machines for the advanced alloys. It's going to cost 10 lines of code. We have like 8 of those, 10 of those. So that's like 100 lines of code. And we only have a total program length of 127 lines of code. So there's a good chance this needs to be broken into a couple programs where each one knows how to make like 3 things. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead. And I want to add the other one as well. I wanted to add Electrum. I think I want to add Electrum further up the stack. This is going to be what's read first, if it's at the end of the stack here, since it's like last in, first out. And I kind of want to make steel before we try and make anything else, because there's a good chance that we're going to need to do that. Steel's a really common input, a really common requirement in a lot of recipes. So it should like focus on doing this first. I was also thinking, is there a way to like clear the stack? Just like clear DB. Would this clear my stack or clear the memory? Clears the stack memory for the provided device. Okay. I feel like we should just be clearing the stack at the beginning of every reset stack call. That seems like proper thing to do. So we might want to clear our own stack before we reset the stack. And this is instinct. That could be a bad idea. I don't know. Anyway. We should never hit this point. It should never reset stack unless the stack pointer's at 0. So it should be like the stack got completely popped out and then it's going to reset. Clearing should do nothing. I'm going to delete it. I talked myself out of it. Good talk. So let's go ahead and just like copy paste the same formula basically. So what do we got here? Target hash is going to be Electrum. Electrum is this guy. Okay. Electrum is going to take gold, and it's going to take 10. And it's going to take... Nope. Silver. And it's going to take 10. So 10 times 50 is 500 plus 500. This is 1,000. It's just gold and silver to make Electrum in even parts. So this gives us 1,000. And then we want to make sure that we do the push 0 for the third hash, which we're not doing anything here. We need the high temp, low temp, high pressure, low pressure. Just putting out dummy values. Okay. High temp is, again, infinity. Low temp is 327. High temp, low temp, 327. High temp, 9999 is fine. High pressure is... Oh, this one's low. 2.4 to 800. Okay, so low is 800. And then 2.4 is this much. 2,400 kilopascals. Should be 2.4 megapascals. Okay, so this is the values for the pressure and the temperature for Electrum. We'll see if we can get this working. This would be a good start. And then we just do the same thing for every ingot we're interested in adding into the system. We can write a little bit of code to push that into the memory stack. It'll check out the machine. It'll dispense whatever needs to be dispensed. And then the furnace will automatically craft stuff. Seems good. Okay, this is our furnace manager. I'm gonna save it. What else have we got here? We've got our reset stack logic. Stage idle. It's gonna wait for control of the dial. I feel like it should also wait for control of the big spinny woo-woo light. Perhaps. But I'm not so certain about that. We might have a couple of idle stages. We might have an idle stage for when we're in the initial idle period, as we're just getting started with like nothing going on, and we might have another idle period for when we need to add stuff to the furnace, and we've already got some stuff in there, but we needed to add 15 stacks of iron, and we ran out at 5. So now we still want to keep the woo-woo light going. We still want to get that job done since the furnace is halfway loaded, but we don't want to lock up the chutes and keep them permanently plugged into the furnace because there's nothing to send in. So there's almost like a secondary idling state where we might be like idling, but we've got control of the furnace more or less, and we need to finish that job as soon as the required resources have entered the system. We should be sending those to the furnace. Just thinking, that's a tangent. But this is probably going to need to be handled pretty quickly here. And with all that to say that we don't want to wait for control of the spinny thing necessarily, or if we do, then we're deciding right now that we need a secondary kind of idling. Okay, maybe we do that. I think that makes sense as like a further along stage. So you'd have like part of the filling stage is like waiting till it's appropriate to fill. In fact, maybe it's like you go idle to fill, then request chutes when appropriate. And then it'll do the fill. You could even like switch that order. And that might be all it takes. So part of idle here then is we want to load the value from the light on the furnace. We want to load furnace is active. Oh my god. Oh, this is brutal. I have 2 R values left. This is too many. Okay. Scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. So we are loading our dial for the chute dial for the setting. Okay. We're also going to want to load the value for the light that is the furnace is active. Okay, so that's the furnace is active. It's going to be where we're loading this. The furnace is active is going to be the light. What is that light? What are you? You're the spinny light. What's your name though? Alarm something? You done making things? Did you do it? Did you fail? Oh, did you fail? You have 24 copper. You have... I told you to make 200. You have made 0. which is not very impressive. What happens when I turn you off? You spit out what? 1, maybe? You spit out 1.
Hydration critical.
Make me 200. Okay. I think maybe something to do with the super fast build time is causing this part to fail. It's still... It still thinks it's making stuff. Psych West. Alright, I'm gonna save you. What are you? You're the furnace manager. We're gonna save you for now. We'll even export it and do nothing with that. The code's in there, but it doesn't compile. Alright, you come over with me. Let's take a look. What's going on in here? We got a new and exciting bug. I thought this was fixed, but it's not. One bug at a time. Getting closer. Got ads popping up here too. Sorry about that. Alright, let's see. Where is my chip thing? Let me grab this, throw it in here. Nope. Come on. Come on. Please. There. Import, edit. Alright, let's take a quick look. Why are you failing here? You are not thinking that you completed. Okay. Let's see. I'm guessing this has to do with the last completion ratio. What crafter has started? Get set and wiped. Are we doing that as part of creating stuff? Yeah. Stage crafting is going to wipe. The crafter has started. Boolean. It's going to set that to a 0. Okay. So it's getting here so fast that the completion ratio is never less than 1. Because the cable is built so quickly. I think I might have an extra sleep or 2 in here that we don't really need. Let's take a quick look at that. So our stage crafting does some stuff and does some things. It's sleeping for 3 seconds right now in between jobs. I don't think it needs to sleep like at all, actually. I think just jumping to main and doing a yield might be enough. And then if it does that, it's going to read before the job is complete, I would think. And that's going to fix the bug without us having to do anything. This feels like the move. I think this is a remnant of before I was keeping track of stuff a little better. I needed to make it like, I tried to make it sleep to realize that it had finished a job. Or something like that, if I recall correctly. Let's see what this does. I'm gonna save, but I don't think we need to. Let's throw this in. It is on crafts. You gonna go again, or did that not work either? What if I turn you off? Turn you on again in a moment. What's up, Drinky Dude? Have you tried Farm Row was replaced? I have not. That sounds like a farming game. That sounds like maybe some sort of automation-y game. Am I onto something there?
Hunger.
Python automation game. Oh, that sounds fun. I like the idea of teaching coding stuff as like a video game. This is a good way of doing it. This is the best way I've seen assembly presented. Very fun. Also a little challenging. What the fuck? What are you doing? Do the thing. Alright, we turned it off. Everything went to 0, right? So give me 100 of these. It's not gonna work, but I just want to test with everything reset, right? That's still done before this guy checks again. Like, it's done in like less than a tick. That's crazy. Okay. So I need to make you think different? This isn't enough of a fix? Let's see, what's going on here? So we're taking the completion ratio loaded from the crafter. We're checking to see if it's less than 1. We're storing that in R0. Then we're taking the crafter has started. And we're ORing it with itself and this value. So it's really relying on this thing sending a signal that's less than 1 at least once for like 1 tick. Are there any more like sleeps in here that are messing with us maybe? Stage cancel, we do want to sleep. That sleep is gone. Sleep 1 for stage idle. Oh, actually right here, yeah. So this is a sleep 1. Right after we start crafting something, we tell it to sleep for a second. This is exactly where we would want to comment something out, maybe. This should be, unless it's happening in less than a single tick, we should get a completion ratio of less than 1 for this. I think. Maybe. Unless I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. Okay. So that code needs to be saved for the crafter controller. I think it's okay. Might have broke something by removing a sleep or 2. We'll see. That goes into the crafter controller. And then this needs to be exported to all of the crafters, or they're gonna run into the same bug possibly. But all we need to do is swap out the programming, and they are controlled completely through just what device they're plugged into. So do a quick swap. This is like the 5th time I've had to tear up the floor and fix these. One of these times I'm not gonna have to do it again. That's the dream. I think we're getting closer. I'm already pretty happy with this. And I keep finding little edge cases, little bugs. But hey, it's making cables. And when it runs out of copper in a moment, it's gonna ask for copper. And copper's gonna come through, so that's cool. Alright. Where was I? What was I doing? I was coming over here, I wanted to cancel this. And then I saw you were broken, and then I went on a side quest to fix you. And then that's done. And I wanted to look, what is the name of that light? Flashing light. Okay, done. Now make me 200 cables. Okay, flashing light is this guy, not a kit, but an actual light, which is this structure. Okay. It's all coming back to me. The side quests have ended. We return to the furnace manager. Furnace manager needs to know the hash for the alarm light. Okay. We got our woo-woo light. Structure flashing light. Alright, and getting back to here, we wanted that because we want to load the woo-woo light, which we were doing in load vars, which is load by name. Furnace is active from woo light named. Guess we do it like this is okay. I think F is active, I think. Setting 0. Okay. So this is going to load the setting value from the woo-woo light that is named F is active, which is this guy, right? F is active. He's a woo-woo light. If it's on, then the setting is 1. You can see that here, yeah. Maybe not even. I might have it wrong. On is 1. Off. On is 0. Okay, I had it wrong. Good to double check. So you are not setting, you are on. Alright, so we are now loading furnace is active as the woo light on setting. So we can see is the furnace active. And that's part of the main stage. We don't want to leave the main stage while the furnace is active. The conditions we're looking for here is we want to see the dial be at 0 so that we can take control of the system and move some stuff through the mall. And that might not even be the case. That might be part of fill. We're looking here to see, is the furnace light on? Is there something that's already trying to send stuff into the furnace and getting a job done here? If that's the case, just keep idling. We don't want to do anything. So I think that's like the top priority, and then this line should move. Anyway. For that, we are going to... Oops, not do that. I was looking for the code for this variable. We've got our v furnace is active variable, which is just a boolean for whether or not the furnace is active. This is what we're going to be checking. We're going to say branch if not equal to 0. V furnace is active, main. So exact same logic. Branch if the furnace is active, is not equal to 0, go to main. If that furnace light is spinning and the furnace is in use, then we don't want to do anything. This one should be moved, I think. I'm just going to delete it for now because I don't think it goes here. We'll have to bring that up where it's appropriate. Okay, this one is going to also handle resetting the stack if it needs to. Let's see. We probably want a little bit of like a helper function here. Might not be a bad idea. Similar to how we had load memory, we could have like load stack item and just get all that code out of the way. Because it's kind of gross. It's a little in the way. Let's see. So load vars is going to be the one that executes every time. And then we want to load stack item, maybe? I don't like that name. Load stack array. Pop stack array. Load object off the stack. Slurp off a bunch of data about the alloys and stuff. Load stack item, but I'm not excited about it. Load stack item's gonna JRaw. It's gonna do some work. Okay, so stage idle is going to check to see the furnace is not active. If the furnace is not active, then it's gonna go ahead and say jaw to the Load stack item. Okay, and then this gets removed. So jaw is jump and then push a return address into raw. So we're going to jump into here to load stack item. We're going to do whatever we want to do, and then we're going to jraw to return back where we started. Right back here. And this is going to abstract loading all of one of the chunks of data from the stack. One of these big chunks is now going to be parsed out right here. So we can remove that and just get it out of that code a little bit. Alright, so load stack item. This is going to first check to see is the stack pointer at 0. If the stack pointer is 0, then go ahead and jump into reset stack, and that's going to reset the stack, which is going to do what? It's going to reset the stack, so it's going to push everything into the stack that is now empty, and then it's going to jump into main. Main's going to redo the loop. We'll go right back where we started by just jumping through the staging into the same stage, into the same function, but now with the full stack. So stack is always going to be filled with the next thing to look at, and then let's go ahead and pop off the next item from the stack. So remember, this is a stack where it's last in, first out. So we need to pop off the very last thing, which is going to be this. Low pressure. So we say pop, V press low. Low pressure. And then we say pop, V press high. Then we say pop, V temp low. Then we say pop, V temp high. Then we say, what else do we got? We go low, high, input count 3, input hash 3. Pop V input count 3. Pop V hash item 3. Hash 3. Hash item hash 3. Input hash? Ooh. That would make sense. Pop V input count 2. Pop V input count. Nope. Input hash 2. Pop V input count 1. Pop V input hash 1. Pop V target hash. So we're just walking through this backwards, popping all of these off. So with one call to that function, all of these get popped into the correct variables, where they're labeled appropriately. Maybe too many. Probably too many, but easy to read. Yes. So we populated our variables, and we can do stuff with that. We decide what we're going to do with it. Alright, anything else to do here? I think it's pretty simple. I think that's basically it. Reset the stack if you need to. Pop off a bunch of stuff. And then we're ready to do it again on the next thing in the stack. If this one's got nothing to do. Let's see. So what are we doing here? We've just popped all this data so that we could check it. We want to take a quick look and see what's going on. What's your setting? Are you empty? Do you need a refill? That's particularly what we're looking for in this stage idle here. We want to take a look at the item steel ingot hash, which is our target hash. Look at that vending machine and see what's going on there. Along with that, we could probably have a variable. Oh no. Oh fuck. Oh no, I'm running out. We're gonna have one R variable left. There's no way. I've never run out of R variables. I want to know the count. I want to know the count in the vending machine of the target vending machine. Do I just put it in the R value? Ah, this hurts me. Alright, I'm just gonna put it in an R value because we can use it one line later. Anyway, alright, where are we? Let's go to stage idle. So we are waiting until we can activate the furnace. We are loading a stack item. So we're going to pop off steel, for example, is going to be the first thing. And then we need to check the count in the vending machine. Okay. So that should be, I'm just going to use R0. Gross. We're going to do temp variable. That's going to be load by name into R0. The device hash is going to be vending machine. Right? Is that a thing? Vending machine. Okay. So the device hash is a vending machine. The name hash is going to be the target hash. This will be the steel or whatever. And then we're looking at the setting with an average of 0. So R0 is now going to have whatever the count is on our vending machine. And I can double check that. Are you setting? Or I think it's actually quantity, if I remember right. I'm going to look at steel in particular. It's quantity, not setting. Okay. Edit. Quantity. Okay. So if our quantity here is below whatever threshold we would like, then we want to go ahead and say, all right, it's time to request the furnace and take control and make things happen. Move into the next stage. However, if the quantity is above whatever threshold, then we want to just go ahead and head to main so that you can continue running the loop. The next time you enter the stage idle, you're going to pop off the next value and go up and check, alright, well, steel was okay, so go check electrum. And it'll do the same process for electrum. So it'll keep, the stage idle is going to rotate through every object on the stack, just checking to see when is the appropriate time to start sending something to the furnace. Okay, just kind of walking through this out loud in English can be helpful. Think slowly, speak slowly. Words. Hard. Lots. Many. Lots, many words. Okay. So we will say branch if greater than the R0. If it's greater than what? 25? Then go to main. And then write a little comment since this is kind of gross to read. Okay. So, branch if greater than. If the vending machine quantity is greater than 25, then go ahead and branch to main. So at this point in time, we know that our furnace, active furnace light is not on. Sorry, at this point in time, we know that nobody's claimed the furnace. The active light is not on. We know that our vending machine is low on one of our objects, and so it's time to start crafting that. So in this case, it's going to be steel. That's always the example I've got going through my brain. Anyway, at this point, we are ready to change the stage and move on to the next progression and what this thing's going to do. And if we are not in that stage, if we have enough, if we have a minimum threshold, then it's going to keep looping through all of the objects until it eventually settles on one to stick with. So we just need to add more and more objects to the stack here for whatever parameter settings we have for all of the various inputs, and then they should plug right in without any sort of extra thought. Alright, so here is where we are claiming the furnace. What is that going to look like? We're going to want to change the stage. We're not requesting chutes at this point. At this point, we're probably in stage fill. And stage fill is gonna have like a fill, maybe like a fill idle, and then a fill. Ooh, that's not words. Fill idle, fill. Again, we're gonna want some sort of idle state where it's a different idle state. It's not idle where it's waiting to see if we should add something. It's idle to, or sorry, it's not idle to see if we need to add something based on a minimum value in our vending machine. It's idle based on we need to add specific ores, and we're just waiting for those to be ready. So it's like a totally different chain of logic. It deserves to be its own branch, its own stage. So like fill idle, fill filling. Could work, but I just don't like the verbiage. Alright. We're gonna call it fill idle. Stage fill idle, and then fill filling, and then request shoots. And these probably have different variables too. So stage fill... let's see, fill idle should be number 2. Request shoots should be number 3. And then once the shoots have been claimed, should have filling as number 4. So we start in idle, we go into stage fill idle when we've claimed the furnace and we're ready to fill it. When we actually have something ready to move into the chutes. We don't want to just have the system lock up right now when we're out of stuff. But when something is ready, request the chutes, and then go ahead and try and distribute that. And then go back to fill idle. So just keep doing that until eventually everything has entered the furnace, at which point we'll just basically go back to idle, and the furnace light will stay on. The furnace light will stay as active so that nothing else is going to go in until the furnace finishes the job of auto-furnacing, at which point it's going to reset all of the variables to 0 for all of the consoles and for that light. Words. It's a lot of thinking. I'm going to eat some potatoes about it. I'm feeling like I should be eating more potatoes. Looking good. Infinite food and infinite water. How's our infinite water? 1950. Going up. Alright, we've been programming for a few hours now. It's been like 2 or 3. I was just thinking, I want to take a look. How's our fuel doing? It was at 6 megapascals before. It should be going up. It looks like the water is choking right now on the Stirling engines. So that's backing up all the way in the steam production. And then the fuel tank fills. Fuel tank is up to almost 8 megapascals, which is nice. That's good to see. Gonna have tons of fuel. This thing will fill soon. And the temperature is still 21.6. Very safe. With the perfect ratio of volatile and oxygen. And then you're still just like not filling, right? 5.5? Yeah. I think the gas comes out over there and then immediately gets pumped into the fuel, basically. Doesn't pressurize all the way down here. Okay, all good. That's going up. Everything goes up. You're still working? No explosions on the air conditioning? You're at negative 77. At negative 77 for 2 megapascals, is that right? Probably. Yeah. It should be negative 84 even. It's not quite reaching that because it's exchanging heat with the everything. Nice. You're killing it. liquids. This thing's still almost full to bursting. You guys are supposed to fill to half. You are half empty. Almost empty. Empty-ish. Pretty empty. Pretty full. Okay. I'm not worried. I think everything's good. Cool. Just checking on some stuff. Just looking. Looks like all of the systems are doing well. And I told you to make 200 of these, right? That's 34. Are you still doing things? Did you hang up? I see 187. So you made a bunch of stuff. And then you locked up. And you are not... Either you're not sending out an order for the cable coil here. Sorry, trying to figure out what's going on. It looks like the copper ran out. And it's not sending out an order for stuff. Big sneeze. I did test this earlier today. I think with copper in particular. I saw it work twice. Where it was distributing stuff. So I suppose the question is... Are you sending out the correct signal? Is it because copper builds extremely fast? Or the wire builds extremely fast? And something just like beat... Something, a variable got beat in a race? And now it's locked up, thinking that it's crafting or something? Are you correctly noting that this guy needs copper? Is that signal even coming out? Is that even in memory? I'm interested in that. Which we shouldn't be able to see here right now, unless we update this guy's code. We can start with that, I guess. Let's take a quick look at this. First off, before we lose this, edit, save. This is our furnace manager. Don't want to lose that code. Alright, you go in, you get imported. You get edited. The world explodes. I don't think vdebug's used for anything. I'm going to delete that. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9... Alright, let's see. So I just want to see, basically, these variables. And I was thinking, too, instead of having weird... I should just be using these, like, console write line, basically. Not putting them in a main function or anything. But I should just throw out some console write lines. So what do I want to see where? I want to see a... target hash, probably. Maybe the stage and the target hash, which is already basically what this is doing. Let's do the stage is the stage, the hash is the target hash, is that right? With a capital H? Nope. Internal hash. Okay. So is there any signal coming through for the copper there? We're seeing 1, which is the idle stage. So there is no signal coming through saying, hey, I need copper. If I turn this off, and then I turn it on again, give me 100 copper. You don't have any copper. Poop. Now it should send out the request, I think. And we can see that. There's numbers. Copper's getting pooped. In comes copper. Okay. So something with the timings in this program is still, it's causing copper to be funny. It looks like it's now correctly ticking down when they're finishing. And watch that going down. But it wasn't correctly sending the order to request more. What does that look like? I'm gonna save this. We'll just leave it like it is. What are you? You are the mall manager, right? If I overwrite any of these wrong, that's like the worst thing I could ever do. There's no backups. I'm scared right now. Don't fuck up. It's this one, right? Yeah. It better be. I'm clicking it. Okay. And we wanted to look at the crafter controllers. So what's going on here? Why are you breaking? What is your problem? Do I need to clear memory more? Perhaps. Is it something funny with the way we're setting memory and we're just doing it so quick that you're a confused little crafter? If I clear your memory before we do a new assignment of memory, is that going to help you to make sure that you have the correct internal state? If I throw a yield in so that you have a single tick to resolve states, is that going to matter? The sleep 1 here, I believe, is what was causing the counts to go off. We couldn't catch it when it was just starting. What do we want to do? Maybe a clear and a yield. What happens if we do this? This might be enough right here if we just clear the memory. That could help. We are doing that here. Well, we're doing that when we initialize the crafter. Are we doing that anywhere else in our loop? No, I don't think so. I think that's a good idea. We should clear the memory before we set anything else. And maybe if this doesn't work, we should throw a yield on it. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and cancel. This is the 6th time, I think. Maybe more, maybe the 20th time. Alright, we export the code, so now it's got just that one change of clearing now. So I'm going to tell you to make 100. And you can't make 100. You should be able to make, I think it had 18, should be able to make like 30-ish, 36, 37. Then we'll see if you can correctly request stuff. If not, I'll try throwing a yield in. And we'll see what happens here. Alright, just doing spaceman things. Just living my best spaceman life, doing a little tinkering, doing a little debugging. Just seeing what new things we could break, just drinking a little coffee. Ooh, coffee is so good. Thank you, beans. You're delicious beans. You taste like bean juice. Where are we? I keep getting these side quests that are so distracting. We are programming the furnace logic for loading this guy up. Okay. That is the furnace manager. I will reload that. The game explodes. So where were we? We were filling in the idle stage a bit. And then everything broke or something. I got distracted. Side quests. I just looked at the fuel tank or something. Anyway. Idle's waiting to take control with the active thing. By the way, I just heard this. You just stopped, right? Oh, and you started again? Maybe? I think that worked. I think clearing the memory got it to correctly update. Let's see if it can reach the end of its job without failing. Very exciting distraction. Alright, that's another side quest. What am I doing? Code. Idle. Waiting to claim the active thing. Loading, popping off stuff from the stack, reloading the stack if you need to. Loading the vending machine quantity, immediately branching based on that, so we're not going to keep that as a variable. We're just going to use it, create it, and delete it in one line. And then add comments to make sure we can understand for our future self, because future self is a very simple creature. He doesn't understand what the fuck's going on. So we're going to try and be nice to him there. Okay, so claiming the furnace is going to move the stage to the fill idle stage. It's going to not set the chute. Fill idle should set the chute. Fill idle is sitting here and it's idling and it's waiting to set to add stuff. It's checking the vending machines that we're interested in drawing from, waiting to see that they have stuff, and then claiming the chute and sending the stuff through the chutes. That's its job. So this does not go here. This goes inside of the fill idle stage as it is changing into the requesting to the fill filling stage. So we're gonna have stage fill idle, which I still don't like the name. It's gonna do stuff and then it's gonna jmain. Some of the stuff it's gonna do is it's gonna set this setting someday. And then it's also, when it does that, it's gonna set the stage to request chutes. Which is stage request chutes. Okay. Anyway, back to here. Claiming the furnace. We set the stage to fill idle. Is there anything else we even want to do? If we're, let's see, so if we're claiming the furnace, then we need to set all of the various values that are associated with claiming the furnace. So that means, first off, we need to set this woo-woo light. I forgot about this. Woo-woo light is the right name. Oh my god. I'm such a simple creature. Set by name. We're going to set our woo-woo light, named F is active, to on with a 1. So we're claiming we're claiming the stage here. We're claiming the furnace. We're setting the woo-woo light. We're gonna have some big woo-woo lights going. Furnace is active. This is our furnace, thank you. Okay. And along with this, we need to set all of the parameters for, like, what are we doing? What are we cooking? So that is as simple as setting the values that we have on our various consoles. Let's maybe start with the large consoles. We're going to say set by name for our large consoles with the name hash of hash. What's your name? Let's start with the F target hash. Is going to be, you're going to send the setting through, and that's going to be the V target hash. Yeah. Okay, so we'll set the woo lights on. We'll set the target hash in the console, and this should show up as a human readable thing. It should say item steel ingot. Should be exactly what we see. Except for none of this is going to compile, but we'll get there. One step at a time. We got our large console target hash. We're going to have our input hash, input 1 hash, something like that. And that's going to be our input hash 1. And is that right? What's your name? These have funny names. Input hash 2, input hash 1, input hash 3. Should I do I should match the naming with a number. Or number is text instead of number is number. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. Are you flying Little Bird in BF6? Why do you taunt me? Why do you taunt me with words like this? There is no Little Bird in BF6. It's a trick question to hurt my feelings. Target hash. Input hash 1. Input hash 2, input hash 3. Three. 2. I'm having fun with the attack chopper. I've been playing a bunch of that. I've been like non-stop playing that for days. I would like to do a Little Bird. Game is fun. I am a Little Bird main. Attack chopper's fun. Little Bird win.
Hydration critical.
That's the majority of that conversation. Am I missing anything here? We've got our hash 1, hash 2, hash 3, target hash. F is active. So that light, that hash, that hash, that hash, that hash. We don't have any of the pressures. We don't have any of the counts. The pressure and temp variables are all going to be a medium. We can do those. Let's finish the hashes. Let's go for the mediums, which are going to be a medium console. They're going to be F input hash, but input count is what we're looking for. And it's input count. Yeah, yeah. Got him. We need this for 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So we've got our input counts. Count 1, count 2, count 3. We've got our hashes, 1, 2, 3. We've got our target hash. That all seems good. Yeah, you target hash, target hash. Input count 2. Okay, these should be also 3, 2, 1. Okay. Do a little dance. How you doing? Did you finish the job? You are off. The numbers are at 0. You made 100 cables. That's exactly how many I told you to make. Wow. Good. Okay, that's another bug or two that have been squished there. Looks like the high-speed production ends up hitting issues. Alright, let's see. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. Thing number 1, where's my laptop? Where did I put my laptop? How did I lose a laptop? Laptop where? Laptop when? Where could you even go? Did I throw you somewhere? I probably threw him somewhere. Laptop, come back. You're on the floor below me. Okay. This is our furnace manager. We're going to overwrite that code. We're going to load the crafter controller. We're going to make sure this has the clear in it. You got a clear for the crafting and stuff? Show me. Here it is. Clear crafter. Okay. Good. That code should be... delete that line. We good? Everything good? You're doing the thing good? Probably not necessary to do that if we're doing it as part of the stuff or whatever. Okay. That looks good for the crafter controller. Just checking. Let's go ahead and update the code on all these dudes again, since they are all wrong. Spread that patch. Try and close the floor again. One of these days. Alright. That's another bug down. Okay, back to this. This is the furnace manager. Furnace manager overwrites. Dude is breathy. Dude loves water. Dude loves potatoes. All right. Where were we? Programming things. Setting console values in particular. Okay. We've got all our consoles set here for the inputs, the hashes, and the counts. These are supposed to be, the counts are supposed to be small, not medium. These are small consoles. The medium consoles are going to be the ones that are used for all of the various input thresholds. So let's set those up. We are going to have medium console, med console, which is going to be F. What is it? Temp high. It's going to be V temp high. Temp low, pressure high, pressure low. Press. Nope. That should be temp still. Should be temp low. Press high. Press low. Temp high. Temp low. Press high. Press low. Okay. So this should be how we pass our information for all of the various required things to the console, or to the consoles and then to the furnace. And this should show us right away if we need any steel or anything. Alright. That's in that guy. Can get that ready and export. I don't think this is quite ready to run yet. Let's see. Let's do more here. Let's get further along. We're getting close. It's probably worth running this sooner than later. But I'm just saying, fuck it. Do it live. Let's keep going. Do it live. So we've got the claim furnace here is going to set the stage. It's going to set all of the console values so that we can see what's going on. And then it's going to go to stage fill idle. Stage fill idle is going to sit here. It's going to rotate through the 3 inputs. Or I guess it could check all of them at once. But basically it's just going to look to see, are any of these inputs ready to go? If the value, I'm thinking of how to do this. It almost makes sense to like have it rotate over an array of the 3. That might even be cleaner. Like not only save lines of code, but be easier to understand and read. But we basically need to check if we still have stuff that we're trying to add. Add it. Take control and add it. I'm just wondering what to do there. I'm thinking we could check we could like sum the value in all of the crafting machines, or all of the vending machines. And if there's 1 in any of them, if our sum is greater than 0, then we're good to pull 1. And then along with that, we would just need to clear out values as they were as we finished adding an input into the furnace, we would want to remove it from the list so that it wouldn't affect that statement anymore. If we wanted to use like an addition there or something. That could be one way to do it. We could have some quick explicit checking of just like one line of code. Hey, does this have a thing in it? Add something. That's pretty easy to do. Let's see, what does this look like? So fill idle first, it's just going to be checking to see, like I said, it's going to check the counts, it's going to add them together, and it's going to see if there's anything greater than 0, basically. Okay, so let's start with that. Let's say add machine, what do you call it, quantity. Until 1 is available. Something like that seems okay. So we could use R0 for all this, I think. R0 and R1 maybe. We will say load by name from, what is it? Got our input hashes. Input hash 1. We'll say load this into R0. Input hash 1. This is a vending machine with the name input hash 1, which will be something like an iron ingot. We're going to load your quantity with 0. So this is going to load whatever value you have into R0. Okay. And then let's add that into R1 perhaps. So maybe move R1 0 to start. Well, let's do R0 even. R0 here, we'll load into R1. And then we'll say add R1, R0, R0, R1, R0, R0, R1. We're going to load the value in the vending machine for the first hash. We're going to add it to R0, R0 being a 0 to begin with. So this is just taking R0, adding 1. And that's going to all be in R0. So at this point, we've got whatever the quantity is in this vending machine. And we want to do that 3 times. This feels wrong. Copy pasting code always feels wrong. So we load R0 up with a 0. We load into R1 the value of the first hash, however many items it has. We add that to R0. So this is however many are in here. Then again, we overwrite R1 with whatever's in number 2 and add that to R0 with the new R1 value. So that's just going to add this guy to this guy, and then again to this guy, and finally in R0 now, we have the total quantity, and we're looking for this being greater than 0. So set less than, or branch if less than equal to 0, R0 main. Okay. So fill idle here is going to grab the various values from all the vending machines, add them together, and then if that value is less than or equal to 0, if there's nothing in any of the machines, it's going to jump to main. And at the same time, all we have to be conscious of here is once we have gathered the required inputs, then we want to clear those values out of memory so that they're not factoring in here. Like once we have all of hash 1 loaded up, then we should just set hash 1 to 0 so that it's no longer touching that machine or looking for that quantity. This will just be a 0 every time, and that'll be removed. So as stuff is finished, it's going to effectively remove itself from this logic chain. And it should be good to only add what's needed, and not like if we're out of coal and we have a bunch of iron, it wouldn't continually try and request control because it sees that we have a quantity greater than 0 here, if that makes sense. So already I'm not liking this. This feels wrong. It feels like this should be some sort of like loop. But we've only got 3 things to loop through, so here we are. Okay, but at this point, if we reach line 101, that means that we have stuff in vending machines that we're ready to distribute. So let's try to grab the stage for requesting chutes. And then we want to set the dial to be whatever the furnace chute setting is. Okay, requesting chutes is going to come into here. It's going to check the dial setting. It's going to look to see that that is the furnace chute setting, which is 1. Otherwise, it's going to jump 3. Branch relative equal. Okay. Yeah. So if it gets control, it's going to go to stage fill filling. If it doesn't get control, it's going to go to stage fill idle. I hate these names. Why can't everything have a good name like Woo Woo Light? Okay. One thing at a time. Did I miss the flying? You missed 5 hours of flying. I might fly later, maybe. I'm more interested in rest and giving the good cat a walk. I've done a lot of flying. My arm is a little tired, and my cat is a little sad. He needs more walks. He's not been getting enough attention. I gave him like an hour today, but he needs more. So request chutes is doing all these things I just said. It's just going to make sure that we actually get control of the chutes before it moves on to the next stage, and then it'll go to fill filling. Okay. So finally we're going to have stage fill filling, which will do stuff and then jump to main. Let's make sure the branching's all set up here, because I know it's not. What's our main function look like? Main function has idle. It has fill, which doesn't exist, right? Should be stage fill idle. Got stage fill idle. We've got stage request chutes. We've got stage fill filling. Feels gross. Okay, request chutes, fill filling, idle, fill idle. Those seem good. Those line up here too. Yep. And then how about our functions? Reset stack, stage idle, stage fill idle. Okay. That one's good. And then we've got stage request chutes. Okay, that's coming through and doing its thing. Ooh, this is shit. Oh no. We're gonna have to figure this out. It's still not quite done. It's almost done. But it's still not quite done. And we're running out of lines of code. I'm about to start deleting lines of code to continue the logic here. Meanwhile, it's only done almost 2 of the objects that we'd want to push into the stack. I wonder if we could write a program that is entirely, all it does is check the stack of this guy and push onto the stack if the stack pointer goes to 0. I feel like that might be necessary. I don't know if that's the thing you can do, but we need like all of this code to live in a different housing of its own, because just the scaffolding around it is ending up taking all the space we have to write this program. Uh-oh. Interesting. That makes me want to pause here for a second. I might need to think about this. I might need to look up, is that a thing we can do? Because we are not going to have enough space here. We're nearly done with the program, but we still probably need another 30 lines. Furnace manager goes here, I overwrite. We call this good, we confirm. Put this guy back. I might need to think about this a little. We might need a slightly different approach. I might have to consult the Google. Talk to the wizard ChatGPT and see if he knows anything. He doesn't, but he can make stuff up. I want to see what he'll make up. And then tell him that he made that up. And then he'll say you're totally right. And he'll make up something else. Alright, well what should I do here? I'm feeling like taking a little break from that. I feel like this is good progress. We got the mall is now auto-distributing stuff correctly. Fixed a couple of small timing issues and memory issues in the machines. So they seem to be working correctly. Hopefully, until I find the next bug. But these guys are working alright. Started the code for the manager here. And I think we made progress on that. I think this is something we can do. I'm going to have to think about it. It's going to take a couple days. But I think we can get that done. And then I think we'll have enough code in a single program to write an auto furnace. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So hopefully we can get this whole chain working. I've heard stories of people who write auto furnaces. So if someone else can do it, I can at least take a swing at it. Or maybe steal their code or something. But I've got hopes we can get that working, and I'm happy to see the progress here. What else should we do? I'm feeling like a little break. I'm feeling like maybe go do a little farming, maybe. I'm feeling like maybe take the good kitty cat for a walk soon. I don't think I want to play Battlefield today. I think I want to deliberately take a break for the rest of the day. How's our farm? We got 26 coal. We got 36 iron. Got 18 copper, 13 silicon, 12. Should we try and like make something? Let's try and make something. What are we missing? Waspalloy. We got waspalloy, we got hastaloy. Let's try and put some stuff in these machines, because we can. That's the thing to do. They're all low. Okay, waspalloy. What's waspalloy take? Oh, it looks like we're getting ads. Okay, I'm gonna stand in the corner for a second. I want to grab a drink. Be right back. I've returned with the drink. Oh, it's good. Oh, I drink a Mountain Dew a day now. It's a bad habit. But they're good. Tastes like bad decisions. Just delicious. Alright, I was thinking I wanted to just like craft a little bit of stuff, I think. Let's just chill for a moment. What I really need for this program is I need a way to like just, if I could just set up the stack of another IC chip and then just like copy that stack every once in a while. That's all I need. Whenever the stack is empty, copy that stack. Simple as that. And go from there. If we could get that, if we could reduce the stack into just like a couple lines of code, then I think we'd have enough space to finish writing this program. And I think that would also give us enough space on the other chip to put like all of the alloys, which would be neat. So then we could separate the code out a little, have enough space, teach it to do everything, and write our program here. So I'll have to look into that. I don't know that that's possible. This may be asking too much, or it may be that I need to write it as like 5 or 10 separate IC chips where the stack is just like a single thing, and then they'll all have shared control over we could have like some sort of ID like I was talking about, so they'll have some sort of shared control over the system where they'll have to specify like it's me, I'm the one who got control. Did I actually get it? Oh, I did? Confirmed? Okay, now I can do stuff. But that could be doable. I'm just trying to think of how this is possible. How we could get it to scale. And just like, I want to do this. This is the thing I'm going to do. I've decided. So how are we going to make that happen? Got to figure that out. We're getting really close. This is super cool. This is the most automated I've ever had the thing before. It's doing real good. Except for when it shits in the bed, but it usually has a good reason to shit in the bed. It's usually because I explicitly told it to shit in the bed in this strange exotic way. And so that's what it does. It's a skill issue. It's my fault. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so this is going good. I wanted to just make stuff. Let's make waspaloy. Waspaloy is silver and nickel and mostly lead at a high pressure, pretty low temp. Okay, silver, nickel, mostly lead. I'm gonna save. So what is that? That's gonna be 10 lead, and then 5 of the others. 5 silver, 5 nickel. Okay. Let's go to furnace. Get some lead. Do we have enough lead? Some sort of countery thing would be nice. 17. 17 is more than 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Activate switch off, yep. And then 5 of the others, which was silver and nickel. This is nickel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that should be all the resources, all piped into the furnace, into one, yeah. Yeah, and I have the activate switch, so it's just going straight fucking through. Okay. So that's how I'm gonna play that one. That's a strong start. We're just gonna sit here and we're gonna watch it all go straight fucking through. And then when it's done, I'm gonna click the same buttons again. Alright. Enjoy the show. This is why I need an auto furnace. I gotta teach it to be perfect, and then it's gonna be perfect every time. Oh no, now it's just mixing shit. Oh my god, okay, alright, let's try this again. Attempt 2. This is why I save. Because it's very easy to mess up furnace stuff. It's a bit of a pain to resolve. It got cold enough that it started mixing reagents instead of passing it straight through, and it was just mixing stuff. And that was gonna need to be separated, and it was gonna poop over there, and there's all sorts of drama. I'm not having it. Let's turn this off. It was 10 lead, 5 of the others. Look at that, it's all in a perfect line, just by chance. That's fun. Alright, this goes to 1 for furnace. Activate switches off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We did it. We did it. Even just this dial is so useful. That's really nice. Okay, so everything is now in the furnace. We go ahead and relieve the chute dial, so the machines can take it if they want. This guy is now closed, so everything is mixing. And what are we looking for? Relatively cold with high pressure. Okay. So we let it all melt to 1,000, and then add some cold air probably. You're gonna do something someday. You're not just gonna be zeros, you're gonna be information. You're gonna educate. on what's going on in the tubes and what the mall's thinking. I got plans for you. You're beautiful. You just do nothing right now. I'm trying to be a cool guy with the full furnace. That's the last piece of the system. Get the full furnace and then everything's good. Just add ore. It's gonna auto craft everything. And then I gotta just decide, like, what do I want to build? I feel like I should do some big building stuff. Really, though. Like, that would be fun. I don't know what. Maybe, like, a giant pyramid with water running along the walls. Made of glass or something. I don't know. Maybe I make a gigantic greenhouse. So that I can make a huge amount of water. And just try and make, like, water features that make interesting lighting. That could be fun. Not sure what I'm gonna do. Alright, we got 1,000. We do activate switch now. Nothing goes through. We add cold gas. Temp goes up. That's probably gonna be too cold, right? We need to go to 127 at the lowest. Cold gas is fine. Just do cold gas. Goes up to, I think I need like 50 here or something. Careful though, that's gonna be really high. It's getting angry and tubey. Hear the angry tubey noises? Very angry and tubey. There it goes. Waspaloy goes out and gets separated, and let's get rid of all that gas. Don't want any of it. Okay. That's one thing. What else we got? Waspaloy ingots. What are these? Hastaloy. You are coldish. You're pretty very specific temperature. Interesting. Specific temperature, specific pressure. I feel like that might be tricky for an auto furnace. That might be tricky for me now that our hot gas is like 2,500. That's ridiculous. This is like the perfect ambient outdoor temperature. But we knocked it up 2,000 degrees, so it's complicating things. Anyway, this is silver and nickel and cobalt with mostly silver. Okay, we can do that. Let's go ahead and turn off, activate, and turn off the exhaust and save just in case. Add a little bit of heat so things can start melting. Let's take control of the system, go to the furnace, look at what goes in thing. We need 10 silver, 5 nickel, 5 cobalt. Okay. Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Big counting. Nickel and cobalt, just double check. Nickel, cobalt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Melts, cold, hot. How did that get so cold so fast? That's pretty crazy. You're making a new AC stack and a big cooling tank for the whole base to sink heat into. Yes. Yes, that one does good. So, I don't know if you've tried playing with the evaporation stuff. That's a ton of fun. I did this giant overkill thing, which I think I've already explained to you. You could do a way smaller version just using the like evaporation chamber. This is an extremely effective form of cooling. Like, I think a lot better than the AC. The AC, you have to build like a big pyramid of cooling. It takes a ton of power because they're just running like full steam all the time. But I also remember doing exactly that and cooling off a big main coolant line. And that was like the backbone for my everything on Venus. So Vulcan, you got options. But yeah, that's been my go-to solution too. And that's like a super core entering the mid-game resource. You got to get cooling on a pretty massive scale. And then you get to be strong and start expanding and cooling off gases and stuff. Okay, we got 1,000 resources. Our temperature is too cold. We are looking for 25 to 30. Let's add some heat, and it's probably going to be too hot immediately. We can do the activate switch. Add a little more heat. 25 to 30. Too hot now. Add some cold. There it is. Goes through. Ooh, we got an achievement. I've already smelted that. I'm pretty sure. I don't know why we got an achievement that time. Alright, that's the thing. Turn off the activate switch. I want to do more. You're still in control. So this is like all of them, I think. All the way to here now. Very nice. Okay. I think some of these are super low. We could add a little more. You're at 2. You're at 4. You're at 5. A lot of them, they're really compressed as well. Like you'll put 1,000 resources in it and get 5 quantity out of it. Like this one was empty and now it's 5. That all went into 250 resources. Alright, maybe stellite. Let's do a stellite. And astrology. What is an astrology? Astrology is... Astrology is science. It's just like star math. 30 to 40 megapascals. Mostly steel, copper, cobalt. Okay, 10, 5, and 5. Mostly steel. I think we can do that. You have enough cobalt? You do. 7. You have enough steel? We need 10. You do. I imagine we have copper. Should have a ton of copper. Yep. Okay. Let's do it. You're on 1. Activate switch. We need 10 steel to start. Your steel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 steel, 5 copper, 5 cobalt. Double check. Yep. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I fucking love this already. This is so much better. Oh, we need a cat. Where's the cat? Give me a cat. When cat. Boom. I request 1 cat, not 100. 1 cat. Must be a black cat. Like the good widgety kitty. Can I not spray paint it? Come on. Okay. You get to be orange. Also, I love you. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Where do you go? You feel important. feel like he needs to be higher. He needs to be able to make eye contact. Oh yeah. That's much better. Fuck yeah, Space Cat. Alright, what was I doing? Something much less important than Space Cats. 30 to 40, 727. Okay, get rid of the cold gas. Probably don't need to get rid of too much, because this gas is super hot. Let's go to 30. Activate. There we go. Alright, any others? Should we do any other stuff? It's so easy. Four, 5, 7, 4, 5, 8, 6, 4. I feel like we should do steel. We should do another one of steel and maybe 1 or 2 of the electrum, because we have these. This is like overflowing. This is 88 in it. This is 100. This is the one resource we get for free. So might as well craft some electrum and have that in supply. Alright, let's turn off the activate switch. What about steel first? I'll do a quick load of steel. How are we here? 26 and 36. Plenty. So we need 15 of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That all melts, and that'll be a load of steel. Seems good. I love you, Space Cat. What's your name? Oh, you haven't done the phase change? On the one hand, I do recommend. On the other hand, you could just do it the way you know how and then add a couple extra solar panels to DA. That's pretty easy. I think it's a fun problem to solve. I think it's one of my favorite mechanics. It's not too bad. You just condense it all with pressure in the beginning, collect night air. And then at a high pressure, it'll turn into liquid, so you save that. And then you put it through a series of evaporation chambers, which are connected to the heat exchangers. And then you just have like a backwards system. So the colder stuff moves right, the hot air that's coming out moves left. You want to have no condensation in any of your pipes until you shoot everything out. The exit back, just dump hot air into the environment. Works extremely good. You can like evaporate stuff a few times. And the pollutant, like my pollutant chain right now is holding like negative 77 C. Just like a giant pool of negative 77 C. As fast as you can pump that in from the outside. It's pretty crazy the amount of cooling that those can do. And the cost, I think, is relatively cheap. A couple fans instead of a ton of ACs running full steam. But it's a lot for a very important mechanic for your base to be able to get on its feet. Cooling is one of the earlier hurdles that you gotta just handle right away, or as soon as you can. Heat death sucks. Alright, you are good. Activate. Warm air. Boom. Steel. And I was saying we should do some electrum too. Turn that off. Electrum go in. It's gonna be 10 of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Buttons. What do you use as the final coolant? I can go out there real quick. Go look at it real quick. I'll give you the 2-minute version of what took like days. That was like 3 sessions. It's probably 15-ish hours, something like that. This is a more complicated version. This is a more complicated version that's easier to visualize and see like exactly how does this whole phase change thing work, because it's kind of fucking magic and it's a little confusing when you're first just like copying some basic setups online or whatever, trying to figure out what is even happening that's making things happening. And the final coolant here is just nitrogen. So you cool the liquid against nitrogen. The nitrogen I'm deliberately keeping above its point where it would condense. So it is always a gas, even though it's extremely cold. And you just tie this directly with the coolant in the system. So the gas here from that tank is plugged in directly to heat exchangers, which are each doing 4 or 5 kilojoules. They're not doing a ton, but they can do like 20 plus each. This could do like hundreds of kilojoules. So you just tie the nitrogen to the final chamber. And then that's your cooling everywhere. And you just use something like this as a good example. The nitrogen line here comes in at super duper freezing. I use just a simple valve, a digital valve to one single tile of nitrogen. So if this side gets too hot, then you turn on the valve until this side is cold enough, and then you turn off the valve and this one little tile will heat up to match whatever's in here. But then you can just specify, like I basically have everything at 22C or so, and these will just flicker to cool off that last little bit of cooling that needs to happen on like the water here or the gas over here, or that's my physical air conditioner inside of the base. Is the same thing. It's just a valve attached to some radiators. So if it gets too warm, valve opens, supercoolant goes in, valve closes. So just having like one frozen line, you can just dump heat in it and decide whatever you want all over the place. Just throw down a little IC chip, tell it what to cool off to. And yeah, the nitrogen you can't get enough of. You have to capture it. This is all I've captured all game from the off gas of my furnace. It goes into a little tank, and then I filter out nitrogen. Everything else gets dumped. But just try and collect some nitrogen because it's useful as a coolant in particular. Sorry, you weren't asking about the phase change stuff at all. You're just asking about what's in this blue pipe. Hopefully that answers your question. And then a little more. Works super good though. I like that cooling system. And it's doing real good. We've just been locked in at 22C forever. You can just specify any temperature, anywhere. Just dump heat in the coolant. And that will be handled by the atmosphere. Alright, what am I doing? Should I craft more things? I was crafting electrum. And we've got interrupting ads here. Here come interrupting ads while I craft electrum. Electrum is gold and silver, low temp, specific pressure, 800 to 2.4. So we are too low temp. I think we just add a little heat. That's going to be too high pressure. Activate. We could turn the output up to like 2. That's going to kind of drip out. That'll do it. Good, I hope you don't get ads. I hope no one ever gets ads ever again. And all the wars stop. That would be good. And we feed people sometimes. Okay. Electrum go through. We listen to the beautiful symphony of clicking sorters while they sort the electrum. We're looking good. We're looking fat and happy. I'm feeling pretty good about this session. I like that in the first like 10 minutes of this session, I just immediately knew exactly what to do to fix the bug that was stopping the mall from working well. Glad to see that work right away. It's nice when you have a solution just kind of come to you. Anyway, happy to see that working. This was good quick session here. I think it's about time for a break. It's been like 8.5 hours. I need a break. Should take Kitty Cat for a walk. But we got some good progress there. Fixed a bug or two on these guys. Got a cat. A widgety kitty. Fixed a bug here with timings not working correctly and not updating the memory. Needed to clear the memory. And delete a sleep so that really quick stuff could register as not having completed yet. Biggest thing is fixing a bug here in the mall memory for requesting stuff. Now these are correctly requesting things and stuff to the machines when they need things and stuff. So we don't have to manage our mall anymore. This is all automatically going to happen for us. That's really nice. That seems good. And then what else? We started working here for the furnace automation. That's going to take a little work. I need to figure out what we can do there. I need to like locate the stack memory in a different chip so that we can have enough room to write this program and keep the memory we need. I'll need to look into that and see if that's possible. I'm going to have to do some Googling and some thinking. If we can't do that, it's going to make it complicated. We could probably figure it out, but it might be like a single chip for every single machine. We might have to have like 5 chips. It's some added controls for making sure they don't conflict with each other. That would be a pain and also probably pretty doable. That's not going to be too bad. Yeah, they'd be changing like one parameter 5 different times. So we'll see. I think this is a problem we can get solved, but I want to see if there's a cleaner way to do it than that. We'll figure it out. Get that portion done so that they request whatever they need and send the correct materials in. Tweak the auto furnace to auto furnace based on all these parameters. And then we've got the whole cycle complete, from generating ore all the way through processing it and sorting it and turning it into the alloys and whatnot, and then distributing them to the machines. So that's the full everything. Plug in some rocket chips or some more deep miners, some more automated something, automated producers, and then we're going to be in a really good spot. Basically becomes a sandbox. So that's something to do. A little more programming here. I want to finish this up. It almost feels like it's been so long. It's been so much effort, and it feels it's a little debatably a little overkill to completely solve this problem. But I want to do it. It feels like a personal goal for this save. I want to get that portion done. And yeah, we should do like rockets and stuff. We should do some rocketry. Maybe do some liquid nitrogen cooling. That could be good. I gotta play with the rocket mechanics. Maybe grow some fancy foods. Maybe do the oxygenated trade platform. That's probably pretty easy to do now that we're mass producing oxygen. Air is no longer a problem at all. We got some stuff to do. I've been forcing myself into a corner of difficult programming problems. There's some other stuff we could do and some other easier projects for sure. We could work on making things prettier. This hallway is dark. This hallway could use a lamp. There's all sorts of things and stuff to do. But I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna hang out with Kitty Cat and go do some things and some stuff. I'll be back soon, probably with more Battlefield. Maybe some more Spaceman game. I love Spaceman game.